Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Biblical Britain Uncoded. And Biblical Britain, I am going to uncode in this video. It's now Christmas. Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 25th of December, obviously Christmas Day. And I think this video was specifically designed to be for me to decode and put without going into too much detail because I'm limited on time. Really, the first chance I could get to put this video up was today, or right now, in work. In work where I do the videos from. Okay. Right. As you can see, right. Firstly, I haven't got too much time to talk on this. I did quite a bit of it in the last video, and if you haven't seen the last video, honestly, please watch it because it reveals something, and this just follows on. Well, in fact, the last 2 or 3, 4 videos and I'm going to be, I'm putting it straight. And what I want to say is, I don't make any claim to anything because, well, genius and madness is a fine line. And to say what this code says without the code, it would put me in the bracket of madness. And I'm fully aware of that. And I've no, I don't want, obviously, you don't want to be deemed crazy, but the way this works, I get the codes obviously, and what you're about to see I've decoded, well, through a specific period, the 8th, the 12th, the 14th, the 12th, which will become apparent as this video goes on, and ties in biblically in the most impossible way. On saying that, like I say, I'm not making any claims. I don't jump for joy when I find these things. In fact, it does the reverse, and I sort of get stressed out, really. But because the first one obviously stated I was the Redeemer, the second the Messiah, and the going back in videos, and this one, well, states both again, but takes it a step further as well. And things I would never even dream of saying, or even entertain putting out on video. I wouldn't even do these videos if it wasn't so. This code was not so perfect and solid, and it is without doubt probably the most mind-blowing code that I've ever uncovered. But answers a lot of questions and sort of just backs up everything I've been saying. Let's get on with it anyway. Okay, right, Jacob's ladder. Okay, in Genesis, obviously there's Jacob has a vision. This also includes the pillow as well. Basically, he goes from a place called Bethel to a place called Padanaram. Gets sent there. I'm not sure of the entire story because it's all complex, but this story is coded like you would not believe. But let's break it down. Okay. Right, how did I get this? On the 8th of the 12th, I know it was the 8th of the 12th because it was the Sabbath. I was doing the Sabbath. Looking at YouTube, something came up in the feed and it had a picture of the Masonic ladder on the temple. Now, if you know the temple, I decoded this as Kyle went. You got the 2 pillars, you got the arch, and there's so much more to this, I can't break it all in. That's all wrong, but the cancer's messed up. But either way, it all decodes to this temple and this padlock, because that's important. Uncoded temple. The place Kyle went is Jerusalem. I will argue this with anyone, and if you don't believe it, go back over these videos, and you will see that it is clearly because I've broken it in so many miraculous codes, just from the Atlas to stars. That's what it's based on. The Old Testament. Or what is left of it, as you will see what's happened with that, because that becomes apparent in this code as well. And what's the other one? And obviously all of Solomon's symbology, because I've nailed it down. Like I say, I can't get into detail too much, but let's just get on with this. Okay, the clue to breaking Jacob's ladder. The first thing is in the rungs. Okay, right, and anyone who doesn't know, I channel this stuff. It comes down, they give me triggers and things, and this was the first trigger. See the picture of the ladder, and then the word rungs came into, I don't even know how to explain it, but either way, right, again, I don't want to waffle too much. Right, okay, so there's 12 steps to the ladder. Okay, right, the first thing is, let me get this right. And I've done it wrong, bear with me. Okay, now this is the main part, or the biggest part of this code. And well, like I say, you'll see. Right, I just got to chill down and relax a bit. I've been given this thing to calm down a bit. Right, okay. Well, if you've been following this, what you will know is pretty straightforward how to fill this in. Okay. Yeah, I'll fill in the bulk of it. First thing, all you do, once you've got the core of it, you will, well, if you've been following these videos, you will know that it's going to be the Argus Navis. Now, this is a constellation. They've changed it to Argo Navis, but it's a generative term or something. Take possession of it. Hang on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Argus Navis. Okay. Right. Now, if you don't know, the Argus Navis is basically is the ship saving a Rus and then remnant, okay, because it's even encoded in there, along with telling you it picks up the people that evac Earth. I know this sounds far-fetched, anybody new, but trust me, well, when you see how this all fits together, you'll understand the importance of it. Okay, so on this Masonic temple symbol, because the Masons, on the Solomon symbology of the temple, not always, but you often find this ladder that goes up. Okay, so we've got to identify, well, we've got to connect this ladder to the temple. So I'm about to show you in the most amazing way how this connects. Okay. Right. Well, firstly, let me just read, right, there's there's two passages really that have hit me. I'm sure the rest is coded, but I'll read the first one. And he called the name of that, it tells you, but he goes to Isaac sends Jacob. And he says, and he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. Okay. Right, now the place that he goes to is called Padanaram. Okay, now as soon as I saw right, Bethel is a place in Wales, in Bala. This becomes apparent now in the second code, but I'll get to that. Okay, so I know that this is a map coordinate for one. Right, but only because of the Luz and Padanaram. As soon as I looked at this, I mean, obviously these places have all been changed, and you'll understand why in a bit, because the line tells you what has actually happened to the Old Testament, the Bible. Okay, Luz Padanaram. Okay, when I looked at this, first thing I see is let's have a look. First thing I see is ULZ. LZ is the landing zone for the Argus Navis, which is the key basically of Solomon. It's a fort in the shape of a key that leads to the padlock basically, which is where this is showing you how to unlock the ladder. So ULZ, and then let me just put Padanaram separate so we can see it. Right, amazingly, I looked at this and I saw it straight away. Okay, so it's pad, and then what you do is you fill in the gap, or the word, padlock, anagram. And again, a lot of this code works in this way. All you do is you put lock, you take down the added letters and it tells you to lock G. So we're going to lock G here. Okay, so it's telling you to lock it in. Right, there's a reason again for this. Okay, ULZ, the LZ is the H, and this is the code written in the ladder. But this ladder actually fits on the map drawing of the right. So the padlock anagram, literally, right. Add P lock. When you break the padlock, it says add P lock. Okay, there is a provision for the D as well. We'll come to that later. The extra D, because I know some people are going to say add lock. Llanfair discoid, which is just across the way, literally up, well, I don't know, quarter of a mile. It's sort of like off the side of the quay. A place called Llanfair discoid. When you're uncoded, it says all in RV, D is code. Okay, now if you've been following this, you'll know that the padlock is the rendezvous point for the LZ. Okay, so it's add P lock, but what do you add the P to? You add it to the word matrix. And then when you drop it in there, you add P, you lock in the matrix, the matrix, okay? Because this is all about matrix and an atlas message, which is a last message written using matrix. Okay. Now, obviously the last message, because this is telling us that there's going to be an evacuation of Earth, whether you want to believe me or not. I can get, well, like I say, it's impossible that this is not going to happen as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, it's up to you to understand this or not. Okay, right, but I'm going to show you so many miraculous things that will, you know, that is going to back this up. Okay, so, and the second part of this code, there's a line that goes from Bethel in Bala, in North Wales, down to the lock. So you've got the Bethel, which I'll show you this code. Okay, you've got Bethel and you've got the padlock anagram. But the ladder, or the ladder code, or the main ladder code goes down further and connects onto the ship of the Argus Navis, actually making this being the mast, and this would be there's a short code here. Right. Again, this is going to get complex now. Right, the single line is the constellation of Canis Minor. Right, because but to get the Canis Minor code, you need to connect it with Canis Major, and that gives you the entire code. And I'll go through that later on in the video. Okay, but essentially there's a minor code and a major code. Okay, the minor, well, I say it's not minor because it's phenomenal, but what this says, the whole thing says together is absolutely phenomenal. But just to show you this is no coincidence, because when I first saw this, I thought, okay, I didn't actually know about the Bethel bit. I found that later when looking. But I like something, you know, I thought, well, it's got to be an Atlas code somewhere, and straight with it, in seconds I found it, because it's so close to the ship. It's literally on the ship and makes the ladder of the ship, the short code. Right, okay, so we need to know where the ladder, Jacob's ladder, is fixed. So the place that is fixed is where he had his, I can tell you, is where he had his dream, and where Jacob's pillow as well is. Okay, right. Where we got? We got Caerwent, which is the real Jerusalem. Yeah, you draw a line. It goes from the lock at Caerwent, and then it goes through the Nedden River, or the dried up Nedden River that runs parallel to it, which is the main river from the Garden of Eden as well. Okay, Caerwent, Nedden, and then it goes Caldicot. So it's three places that literally line up. So the lock goes through down to this place called Caldicot, and in fact the ladder goes to the bottom of the ship. So you've got well, I'll show you on the map. But let's do this first. So right, so the first Atlas code, bear with me, is, and I will do this just so you know I'm not making this up. You couldn't make this up, folks. Connect ladder, ID Kaya went. Okay, well obviously, as you, like I said, Kaya went is Jerusalem. Jacob's ladder, basically, when Jacob come there, obviously it must be pre-temple, I'm assuming it's pre-temple time, but when he put his pillar down and he had this vision of this ladder leading up to heaven, basically, and the angels going up and down the ladder. Well, the angels going up and down the ladder are obviously, right, I'm going to stick my neck out here and say that obviously the Argus Navis is the main ship that comes down and evacuates the people that make it to the, you know, get to the safe zone and take advice and jump on board type thing. But the archangels, see, ark, it can be used in two ways. This is an ark. It's the ark ship, obviously the ark ship, the Argus Navis. Again, if you don't understand all this, you'll have to go back and follow this code. Okay, but it's an ark ship. So when he's seeing the vision of the angels, what he's really seeing are archangels. And I got a feeling, again, that one is, I think there's an armada, but there's also this royal escort of archangels, archangel ships. And obviously the angels being ships as well. I'm not saying, obviously the angels, I assume, are actual angels. But they have, I think these ships are named after them. Because you've got Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and then obviously this one would be you, and then this says Mr. Guy. So obviously this is kind of my ship, or the ship I get on, as crazy as it sounds. But and the other, I think the other four, I don't know, perhaps escort or whatever. But and I feel strongly, and I haven't had anything other than this, but it makes sense because what you've got is the Argus Navis coming down, the archangels, you know, going up and down, basically collecting people, taking them off. I'm assuming collecting people, taking them off, or to excuse me, to evacuate. And the G is Jerusalem, and the H is Lanmelin. But there's a double code in this because this is locking in heaven, and then what you have is the firmament. And there's even a code in that which is absolutely mind-blowing. Okay, bear with me a second, folks. Okay, folks, just quickly, bear with me, moving on to, right, just to get, so we got some idea of what's going on here with these lines. Okay, this is, right, this is the line. And this, and as you'll see, this will become important, right? If I, well, let me just type it in. If I type in Bethel in Wales, let me just show you. It will come up as you can see. I don't know if you can see it, but it says Bethel Bala. This is important because this is encoded in the story of Jacob. This place actually naming it as Bethel Bala, as you'll see. Okay, so what I did is basically, as I normally do, I ran a line from Bethel Bala. If I just put that onto the landscape, I've literally picked up all the main places that this crosses, and there isn't a great amount of them. Betis Sedwin or Sed. Right, I don't know if you can see this. Bear with me. Okay. Sorry, folks. I know this is a bit poor, but I'm not very good on computers. Right. If I type in Betis Sedwin or Sedwayne, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, a red ring comes around it. If that ring crosses this line, I know that these places are supposed to be on the line, literally the ones you decode. So as I go down, it goes over a load of no man's land. Then it goes through a place called Kerry. Okay. But along the way, it crosses, is it this way? It crosses rivers, basically. It crosses, I'm not sure where it is, and I can't type it in, but it crosses the D up north, the 7, the Y, and this line goes down through Kerry. The next place is Raglan, I know that, which is miles down here, because none of these other places cross the line. Okay, they're all off this line. When I get to Raglan eventually, which is somewhere, there's Raglan Castle. As you can, there's Raglan, so Raglan is obviously, that goes through the line, so that becomes one of them. Along the way, it crosses the Severn, the Dee and the Wye. Okay, they're all the major rivers in this code, as you'll see from previous videos. Okay, but the short line goes from, let me just centralise this. Here's the, let me straighten it up. This is the padlock anagram, okay? So when it says, and this locks Jerusalem, this is the Temple of Solomon, the real temple of, decoded Temple of Solomon, okay? This is the padlock, so when it says padlock anagram, and then it tells you to lock G, obviously it's lock Jerusalem, because this is the fort, well, which has been renamed by the Roman Catholic Church at some point, and with their skullduggery, has been renamed Ventus Ilurum, but instead of hiding a code, it actually makes this code even better, as you'll see, because they just hang themselves the more they change things. Yah is much smarter than them, let me tell you, the creator. But as you can see, it goes through Caldicot, and right, the short line stops at Caldicot, okay? But the long line goes on and doubles up onto the River Severn. So the River Severn will be used twice in the long code. But essentially, Canis Minor is, which is coded when you, well, you'll see in a bit what it says, unbelievable, is one single straight line, okay, with 2 stars, Go, Miesa and Procyon, okay? This line obviously represents minor and major, because you need to combine both of the minor and major to get the messages that are hidden in the star constellations. Okay, right, now just to give you a better idea, where are we? Okay, this now is literally the decoded Argus Navis picture in the map. Again, I can't go into everything with this, but what you've got, Carina the Keel is a car one of the constellation of Argus Navis. It's an ancient constellation that was broken into 4. Carina the Keel, Pupis the Poop Deck, weird name I know, but a fantastic message. G-Roos the Crane, obviously the G-Roos is the 4th that's named after that constellation. And the other one is Vela the Sails. So basically you've got all the parts to make a dock and literally a landing zone with the crane and the parts of the ship. A lot more to it than that, but like I said, I can't go into everything. But what I've done, I've just done the basics of the ship without adding all the extra lines that pin it out with the sails that give you even more code. But I've pinned it, the mast goes from the lock at Jerusalem, and then what I've done is I've just put in where the ladder code goes from, and it's going to snap out now if I ain't careful. So the ladder I've put from the bottom of the ship running through the 3 places: Caldicot, the river, or the dried up now River Nedden. It's cut down as Nedden Brook, but if you can actually type it in to Google and find, it's Nedden with a double D. And it's the old Nedden River that dried up, which is why I think the Siluri fled down Jerusalem, or the Israelites get divorced, as the Bible tells us. But obviously the Israelites the Siluri have been changed to Israelites. The Siluri are the tribe of this fort. Okay, so you've got the ladder basically, and let's put the last connection in. What the heck? So what I've done is, I've obviously done it as a zigzag, but effectively this is Jacob. This is why Jacob's ladder there, and this is the ladder that goes from the bottom of the ship up to the top of the mast, basically. And again, it's all part of a bigger code. Okay, so just to give you an idea that how this all fits together. But what we're going to do next is go on to this line here. Take all the places and the rivers that are encoded, that are literally this line crosses, and then we're going to unscrabble it and find the most incredible message possible. So just note, it's Bala Bethel in Bala, and then obviously to Padanaram, which is the padlock anagram. obviously the ladder and everything else fits in to connect it to the stars. Right, if that hasn't complicated everything. Right, bear with me a second, folks. Okay, let me just adjust the camera just a little bit, guys and girls. Right, okay. Come down to touch. Right, Jacob's Ladder. Okay, so we go into the story. And basically, obviously, I think, oh, well, I'll guarantee there's so much more code, but I got taken to this passage. Genesis 28:19. Now, whatever, like I say, how I just come up, you know, how I find these things is miraculous. Well, it's miraculous to say the least. So clearly, I'm getting led by Yah himself, or through this tetragrammaton, whatever that actually is. I don't know, but it remotely downloads or remotely anagrams things to me, giving me, it's kind of hints and thoughts. I don't know how to explain it, but either way. Right, okay, let me just read the passage in question. Sorry, it's Genesis 28:5 actually. Let me just correct that. Okay, I've done it actually slightly wrong because I missed Isaac. He's the first, he should be first. So when I read the passage, all I've done is taken out the main characters and their kind of roles or things that stand out. Really, that's what it really is things that stand out to me. Obviously, you're already working out what the Padnock anagram is, the Padnarum. That I know obviously that there's code within this. Okay, and it says, and Isaac sent away Jacob. So Isaac, Jacob, and he went to Padanaram unto Laban, son of Bethuel, and notice there's a U in this now as well, which is obviously stands out like a sore thumb. The Syrian, okay, it's nothing to do with abroad, obviously. The brother, and this becomes important, trust me, of Rebecca, Esau's mother. Okay. So all I did was took out like all the key words really, the words sort of, you know, the things that link it together, took them all out, and then literally unscrabbled the message written in it, and it's quite well you'll see now, it is quite shocking, amazing really. But bear with me a second. Right, folks, as you can see, the message decodes as such, or anagrams to this. I use Bethel Bala. As I showed you on the map, I use Bethel Bala to create the line. That's where I started from. Bethel Bala is in Wales, North Wales, basically. Okay, it says, right, now we're going to be skipping a little bit. Well, to try to explain all this in one hit is going to be difficult because it's going to bounce between the stars and multiple things, okay? So bear with me a little bit. Right, I use a cast job. Well, the first thing of the cast job is, if you've been following this, it's a Cassivac ladder. That's what it amounts to. It's a Cassivac ladder job. So the Cassivac is a military term for an emergency evacuation. If you've been following this, you'll understand this already. If not, just go back. The job 99, or it's the job 999 job basically. The IN count 9 evac, which is countenance divine, is an anagram of countenance divine. Okay, so it's a Cassivac ladder job. So the job that I've got is to show you that the ladder decodes the Argus Navis, which is the ship that does the Cassivac. Obviously, and I think the ladder indicates, well, it indicates a lot more, but we'll come to that now, because there's also a cast job, and a cast ladder job as well that ties into this, which connects to me, unbelievably. Okay, Bran Key, what I didn't show you on there is where it passes through Llanmelin. On this side of this, where this line goes from Bethel Bala to the Padlock anagram, you literally have the key pointing. The key fort of Llanmelin, which obviously puts it into the land code, which I haven't even showed you yet. Okay, the message in that, this is the biblical one. Okay, so it passes the key points to the line, so it's key to breaking Jacob's ladder code. Obviously, you've got your ladder down here in the ship as well, obviously showing that it all connects together. Okay, The Arch Mother is the RGH Mother. I didn't actually, let me just show you this quickly as well. If it's still there, which I hope it will be. Right, bear with me a second, folks. I had to do, right, rather than complicate it, this is the art, right. Again, it's going to be difficult to follow if you haven't been following these videos. This is the Royal Gwent Hospital. This line basically goes with the River Usk, the River Wye, and the River Avon. Then you've got the River Severn. When you uncode it, it says, I think it says, I saw V on Key, I saw V use Vernon Key. Well, Vernon is my mother, basically. That's her maiden name. So, and the RGH is the Royal Arch in Cancer. So this is the Royal, this is when it says the Mother Arch. And this, and this is the a part of a warning to everybody, well, to Christians, because you're going to be deceived, I can assure you. And what this actual fin says, it says, the place names that this all connects, it gives you the code, I code RGH tail fin. There's the RGH. This is obviously the tail fin of the, it's showing the Argus Navis. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the actual spaceship itself. The triangular ship which overlays the ship. So you get the Divine Mother ship, and the RV and the LZ. When you've connected all the pictures together. Okay, and then it says, call to one God Mary with Son. Obviously showing that this being the Divine Mother, and well, I'll leave the rest to you, but go with this code, and I don't fully understand how the heck I got him, why me, but it clearly names me as the Redeemer, and exposing and we're about to expose a lot more lies of the Vatican and what has been going on. And why the Bible is coded as well, or the Old Testament is coded. Okay, let me just take you back a second. I'll just bring you back to the board. Okay. So, it says, I use Bethel, I use a cast job. Again, there's more to that, I'll come to it. Brand key, which is obviously points to the line. Arch Mother and a brother. Now, here's where it becomes absolutely incredible, and this will link to the timing of all this as well in the most unbelievable way to show you that this is a simulation. We're living in a simulation. This was all calculated from the beginning. Well, we're going to go back to the second day of creation to show that this was all, well, already in code at that point. And like I say, seeing is believing, but believe me. Right, and a brother. Well, I can't bring my brother into this too much, but my brother's name just happens to be Jacob. And I'm not even joking. My brother's name is Jacob. Okay, now he's using my brother's name to tie in the ladder. But there's more to this ladder as well, because so my brother's name is Jacob, but now we need to now I've got to run into another. Right, bear with me a second, folks. Oh man, I don't know where to go with this. It's that crazily connected. It's difficult to know which way to go. Okay, well you can obviously see that the line I use for Bethel Bala. Actually, what we're going to do, I'll come back to Jacob's ladder and how this connects now. But what I need to do now is go into the actual coding for the Atlas line. Bear with me a second. Okay, folks, so we are going to skip around a little bit, like I say, so please bear with me. And we'll come, each thing you'll see how all this connects together by the end of it, and it's extraordinary. Okay, major code. So, obviously Bethel, in North Wales. Then it crosses the little stars just indicate that they're rivers that they're crossing. Okay, so the Bethel, then the D, Betis, Sedwyn, the Severn, Kerry, then the River Wye, Raglan, Llanmelin, which is the key, that's the brand key, Caerwent, that's where the lock is, then the Nedden, Caldicot and Severn. Obviously the smaller code is in Caerwent, Nedden and Caldicot. It crosses, the 7 is on there twice because the 7 snakes up across Wales and up North Wales. So it actually crosses it twice. So on the major code, we use both. Okay, so let me just unscrabble this. And like I say, if you want to check this, feel free. Okay, folks, this is what it says and what a code. Right, now, the reason it's a major code, and it does connect to Canis, the connection with Canis Minor and Canis Major is that when you anagram both of those down, bear with me, it says Marco realised RC reset, that's Roman Catholic reset. Get sign, add moon, join the RGH. Again, I'll come to that in a bit. But obviously, what has happened in history is that basically there's at some point the Roman Catholic Church, and I don't think, and it's not back in these ancient days. This is more, well, if I had to guess, I got a feeling around about this, and I'm gonna stick my neck out. Don't hold me to this, but 733 comes to mind, the AD. Something with the Catholic Church, or the beginnings of the Catholic Church in the church, but you know, this something around this time. Again, I wouldn't swear I can't kind of swear to the date, but for sure there's a Roman Catholic reset. This is why this major code connects to the, you know, obviously to why it's Canis Major and Minor. It's sort of done in one line, showing you a major. Obviously, I say the minor code tells you that they connect the ladder, ID Kaya went. But this is showing you that obviously he's using the code within the story to expose the hidden code that shows you the real place of the Bible, then, and tying it at the same time and telling you that yes, the ancient Welsh Bible was rewritten. Connect ladder redeemer. Well, I don't know how, but every time it'll connect again in a bit. But it connects. The one who makes the ladder is the redeemer, basically, and not just redeemed himself, but redeemed himself opens the angel's key and cellar. The angel's key and cellar is a code in itself. Like I say, we're going to have to skip around here a little bit. But the angel key and cellar, the angel key is Llanmelin, and the cellar, if you type in Kaiowent Roman Temple, which is not Roman, but that's another story, because it's all part of the cover-up, you'll see that the padlock is labelled, it's Latin, and they've labelled it the cellar. But when you unscrabble, do I do it? Right, I'll come back to it, but you'll see what the angel's key and cellar is now when I break it down piece by piece. It also says Wed RV, which is the rendezvous. Okay, the rendezvous, like I said, I could go off in so many tangents here, but the rendezvous is the lock as well, which is the cellar. So it's the G is the lock G bit. So Wed the RV is the ground rendezvous point for the tribes, and then it tells me to warn event. The event coming, firstly, is war. And the Russians basically going across Finland, Sweden, Norway. I've done videos on this, extensive videos on it, and then coming down through sort of, well, I guess Scotland, north of England, and then obviously, and literally it tells you to get, it's the signal, Oslo falling is the signal to get to Mon, basically, or Monmouthshire, the Kingdom of Mon, which is Solomon's kingdom, it's all encoded in it, and get to the temple where the cellar is, the padlock on the RV. Okay, I'll get into a little bit more depth because we're going to be skipping back and forth, as I said. But as you can see, it's quite clear. And like I say, if you think this is a fluke, just check the last 3, 4, 5, I don't even know how many, 6 videos. They're every time, without fail, these messages are clear. They're coded, some of it is blatant, yes, ancient Welsh Bible rewritten, connect ladder redeemer, but obviously, and to uncode it, I already have to know the answer. Like Angel's Key and Cellar, I can tell you, identifies my daughters. And there's more to come on that, and the Song of Solomon. Okay, but it literally, because I know what the event is in Nibiru as well, it's this fiery planet, and the end, basically the end of this planet. And this is why there is a ladder up to the heavens, basically. And like I say, this is going to make tie in so much as we move on. So let me just move on to the next bit, and we'll work from there. Okay, folks, just a quick recap because it all connects together. Canis Minor, the lesser dog, and Canis Major, the greater dog. Once you anagram this down, it says Marco realised Roman Catholic reset, get sign, add moon, join the RGH. Now, if you've been watching this, you'll know already. Well, the sign is Cancer. So, what this is basically is a star map that goes on the ground. Again, if you want to know the ins and outs of it, you'll have to go through. But what you do, this is Holyhead, Swindon, and Exeter. Is Canaan is England, Egypt, because it's all been hidden. Egypt is Cornwall. I even know the Egyptians are, or the Egyptians, or what's been changed to Egyptians, are actually Gypsons, which comes from the word gypsy. But cursed to wander the land. But I'm going to probably be doing more on that in another video. Okay, and then you've got Uda Holyhead. So the K-E-Y is the key. He's right, and it's on. Right, okay. Get sign, Cancer. You put it on the map, and then just connect it onto the pillars of Solomon on the symbology. Add moon, which is your secret Sion Mon. Again, I can't get into it all, but this is the 2/4. This is the lock, this is the key, and then it says join the RGH. Well, I realised that the RGH is the River Severn. Well, this ties with the ladder actually, if you go into it. This would be the R, the river, which is the river. That looks like a spider, bear with me folks. Right, that would be the R. The arch is the A. This is the G. Between there, you've got the US dollar bunker. Like I say, just check the last video, and then you've got the land melon would be the H. What you get when you connect all this up, and I'm guessing this is all part of this as well, to do with it putting the ladder up, is what you get is you get the arch, the river, Jerusalem, the US dollar, and then the H, which gives you the Argus H. If we do Padnarum and we lock in G, obviously we're doing it in reverse, so it would go the other way. So downward it would be GH, and up, and obviously, like I say, this is just a sort of another view of the ladder, I suppose, but the ladder is a bit more specific to the code. But as you can see, this is the hidden code in Solomon's temple, and the ladder obviously slots in and goes, and well, the ladder goes up to heaven, but we'll get that, because using that as a H, this is a second H, so, right, and let me just do one thing at a time, and right, we'll come back to it. Bear with me a second. Okay, folks, we're about to get real crazy. Let me just move this thing up a touch even. Okay, Jacob's Ladder. Obviously, Jacob's Ladder is a complete and utter code, and a massively clever one with it. Okay, it says in the Atlas line, I use a cast job. Okay, now the word Jacob's Ladder says, bear with me, it says, cast ladder job. Okay. Okay. Right. Right. The first one obviously is a Cassivac. So this is the right ladder. This is the ladder that I'm on now. And obviously showing you the Cassivac ladder job of the Argus Navis, which ties with the Book of Job as well. We'll come to that. No coincidence. But a Cassivac ladder job. Okay, so that is first part of the Cassivac of the thing. But the right, the Royal Arch in Cancer is also the Royal Gwent Hospital, Casnewydd. Right, Casnewydd is the name for Newport. So the second, right, the second code and the wrong ladder that I once climbed involved well, it's exactly the same. Okay. This refers to the Masonic ladder, the Masonic version, because well, this is how I perceive it or read it. Okay. Unbelievably, I've had two careers in life, and this is astounding. And I did wonder if this was ever going to come up, and it sure is. Unbelievably, when I was in my early 20s, I started working in a ladder company in Casnewydd, which is Newport, the place of the arch and everything else. And I had a ladder job, but where I was actually manufacturing ladders. There's not much I don't know about ladders. I mean, there might be a bit of a change in the rulings, but I know all types of ladders. And what happened from there is I had a few odd jobs in between, but then I went to another company called Light Ladders, which are based down in Ustragynlaid, Swansea, which I think is coded too. I've got to get to that, but it's not for this video. Right, so I started to climb up the ladder, literally, and I went into sales actually there. I didn't only manufacture it, making the ladders I did in Newport. The Light Ladders were in a place called Rogerstone in Casnewydd, and I became sales manager there. And from that, I actually started my own firm. Unbelievably, selling ladders and step ladders called MG Ladder and Access. And I did this for quite a number of years. And unbelievably, after climbing all the way up this ladder, the thing that actually finished off the business, shockingly enough, was 9/11. Now, I cannot explain this to this day, but the moment what happened obviously on 9/11, bearing in mind that 9/11 is the emergency number for America, so was that telling me that something was coming, maybe triggered something in me? I don't know, but it's clearly symbolic to this whole thing. So what I did was climb this ladder, and then basically I ended up effectively selling my business over, or handing it over really, because it was sort of gone downhill thanks to 9/11. And I ended up sliding down the ladder, worked for this Light Ladders. I went back to Light Ladders as sales manager again, and eventually fell out with, well, I won't get into detail, but let's just say we didn't get on, me and the manager. In a strange way we did and didn't. But I basically come off the ladder and then got on to another ladder, which was my security ladder. There's connection with that, I'm not even going to go into that, but basically, well, let's just say AWSL, the AWS angel, realised that AWS wasn't going there, then ended up climbing this now Argus ladder, and that, by the way, is Wales, because even Wales is coded. It's also AWSL, because at the time of AWSL, and AWS is Anglo-Welsh Security, by the way. It's like these snakes and ladders, almost like me climbing up one, coming down again, going up another, until I found obviously found the third ladder of Jacob, which obviously decodes to, and I think this is with the Ladder Redeemer, because this one, I actually gave up this business. I made a decision. Well, it said you can't send people out on the Sabbath day, and I went into, I don't even know what it was, like a trance or something when COVID struck, and I ended up giving my business away literally for a penny. I gave it to a guy. I sold him the minibuses, lived off the minibus money, and then literally from there and I did it with so little code. I look back and it would be insane to do it. But there was something just nagging me and telling me that I needed to do this, and I knew danger was coming. I don't even know how. I could just see this world going wrong. And what I did this for my girls, my two children, and my life. I knew I was going to be separated from them. I can't explain it, but it didn't happen in quite the way I expected, but it sure did. But as I'll show you, the treasure of heaven is something that money cannot buy, and I will explain that now, because that encodes in this as well. But as you see, the Casnewydd ladder job was literally was my 9/11 ladder. And bear in mind that this is the Job 999 code, and the 666 is down here. And this is also the triple moon in Cancer, which we're in now. Actually, the third moon in Cancer in this year. Sorry, it starts with a full moon in Cancer. My birthday is exactly halfway, and then obviously, and we're right in it now on the 26th tomorrow. The 26th of December, we're in the third full moon of Cancer, and I think this code was meant to be the year of the revealing of what I'm about. Well, I haven't finished yet, but what I'm about to reveal on Christmas Day, which is absolutely stunning timing, and now I got to this point. Okay, right. There's more to this though than meets the eye, because right, this is where it gets absolutely incredible. I'm telling you folks that the one that what I believe is what I perceive, but they put it in my head, or he puts it in my head through this tetragrammaton, and right, everything is planned. We live in I've shown before that the covenant simulacrum gives you CC Amon Ventus Ilurum. So the covenant simulacrum, covenant is like the agreement. Well, it's the ark of the agreement, literally the ark ship of the agreement, which ties in with the ark of the covenant, which is also buried under that lock. I've decoded that as well. Right, okay, it's going to get confusing if I don't. Right, but okay, going back to day 2 of creation. Because the creator ran the simulation. I'm absolutely positive, and this is my personal view. I can't, obviously, I hope I'm not speaking out to him, and I will say this is from what I see, this is how I perceive it. He ran the simulation. Man cannot get it right, no matter what he does. Every time they mess up. But what he's done is run the simulation backwards as well, which is strange, but I've explained that in the last video. Run this simulation so that. And I feel like we were put in quarantine, and this simulation has been run backwards, but it's the best result that he could get from the simulation, not because of how he wanted it, but because man, given free will, just keeps on messing up really, and everything has to sort of fall in line, and the best result to get the gold out of the people, the kind of chosen ones whose names are already written. I can guarantee you that he knows who they are already, and my job is to call these people and just pre-warn them and get them ready. So if you're watching this video and you're still with me on this, then believe me, I will guarantee that you're getting a call. Okay, right, okay, so in the second day he made the firmament. Now, right, this is where it gets crazy. Jacob's ladder, as I showed you, goes up, Argus Navis, G, H. The H on this one represents heaven. Okay, so if we lock at G, we lock G, and what we've got is a firmament. He made the firmament. Okay, right, well when he made the firmament, he was already planning ahead. Because Jacob's ladder reaches the firmament. Okay, Jacob's ladder reaches the firmament, but what we've got is if I've got this right, bear with me. You can use either with this really, but this one is obviously aimed, bear with me, let me just get this right. Right, hold on. Sorry. So the cash job ladder firm would be what was MG, ladder and access. And obviously I did all the jobs of cats up the ladder to go and literally this company had for about 5 years, and like I say, taking 9/11 into it, and that was like, obviously I think it was a warning for the future. Obviously I had no clue at the time, and not even until now. But as you can see, this planning came from a long time ago. If I just gave you this on its own, I would accept you could take this down as probably a coincidence. But when you tie all the atlas lines, everything else that I've decoded in this, and take into account the time scale of me doing this, all what I'm showing you pretty much, so, well, all of it, of this code, apart from the code I showed you in Canis Minor, and one other little code, as this has all taken place in the last 2 weeks, because the first week I didn't get anything, and that is part of the timing of this code in the book of Job. Okay, let me move, alright, okay, bear with me a second, folks. Okay, folks, we're back to Solomon symbology. Right, okay. Now, the Royal Arch in Cancer is the RGH. This is why they obviously the Cancer symbol, but also this is known as the keystone. But this is also, you know, well, when they build it, obviously, I guess. But obviously it's got the picture of it's got the sign of Cancer on there. I was born on 30th of June, and again the whole symbol. I can't go into all of it, but it's the sun of the moon, so I'm born in Cancer. Unlocks uses this. This is the Gwyneth Zodiac Go ID Cast Newith, which is also part of that ladder as well. And this is a picture of the Earth basically, or an atlas, obviously, and which is a last message represented by written in map tricks, because you take the padlock, add B-lock, the matrix becomes matrix. Okay, so what you've got is keystone. Well, this is code in itself. Whether they realise it or not, I don't know. But you've got the key. Well, the key is the fort, and the stone is the lock. So you've got the lock and the key. The two forts are I don't know, quarter of a mile apart. All the lines line up with a ton of stuff, including Eve's Apple ID and everything else. Okay. When he named the pillars, he named them. What he really named them is either Joachim, Boaz. You can do this two ways, Yachim or right. They've changed it to a J, a Roman J. Okay, same as Jacob. But what he has done is there's a place called Tallycoid. Just Coid. And what this does is gives you an Alt-Y code. Okay? It's the alternative Y code, basically. Again, I can't get into all of it, but there's an alternate Y code. So you change the J, like I say, he's used it, they've changed it to a J, but Yar obviously knows in advance what they're going to do, so he just encodes it with a J and a Y. Okay, so Yachim, but this one is Yachim Boaz. Okay, so there's probably something about a job in there as well, to be honest. See him, a job or something. Yeah, I think it is. Right, I'm not going to go into that at the minute, but let's just do it. So what this one does is see him as, I think that should be an S as well, but either way, a boy. Well, if you've been watching these videos, you will know that my registered address at birth was literally 15 foot, about 15 feet, I guess, from this lock, right by the temple in a place called the Kiowa House. My mum and dad had a flat there. So my registered place of birth was there. I was taken to the RGH, only to come back 50, when I was 50, basically. Woke up out of my sleep, I guess, chucked out of bed, that's what it felt like, and suddenly found myself following this code and this road, and here we are. Okay. Right, the key, right, so you've got the key fort, stone lock. We also know is a padlock anagram, padanarum is a padlock and anagram. When you see him as a boy, well, the boy's pillow was in the house, so the crib and the pillow, Jacob's pillow is, and if you do it with the Y, it's see a boy's pillow. So again, I mean, I don't know whether this is real with Jacob coming down and seeing this vision. Probably, it's probably just an overplay in the matrix. But the place that he saw this vision and what he was seeing is what I'm decoding to you now, basically, or what is to be sort of uncoded at this point. And to show you that everything, literally, there is a divine plan, a rescue, you name it, but to put it beyond coincidence, It's all done in this fantastic code written into creation, and he says, I create new works. He isn't going to give a Bible, because as you can see, they rewrote the first one, and actually it becomes like the Torah, as the first 4 books according to Ra. Well, if you followed this video, Ra is the snake from the Garden of Eden, and the apple was bitten at Coent, because Eden is in the same place. Solomon's temple is built on it. Jerusalem is built on it. It is literally the centre of the whole of the biblical code, including, Solomon's kingdom. The only temple in Mon, or the Solo temple in Monmouthshire, is this temple. Right, okay. So again, that's how you decode it. Decode basically decode the ladder, okay, and then the ladder, climbing up and down the ladder, I guess. I don't know whether it's a set. I think the business one is like the Masonic ladder, and the second ladder is the biblical ladder. Obviously, this one is the one, and this is the one I'm gonna, I'd succeed with basically. Right, I'll just hold you there a second. Okay, folks, so you've seen the first message. The actual Canis Minor and Major message obviously tells you that, Marco realised Roman Catholic reset, and then it gives you the coordinates to make, obviously, the safe zone and highlight the moon on it to show where the RV and the LZ, and obviously connect the ladder and everything else to it. Okay. So now the message in the stars. Now I already uncoded one message. I didn't realise there's 2, but these are all timed messages to go with things that I've already encoded last time, and the amount of space in between. I got taken back to this, which was a bit weird because I thought I'd already encoded the message in it. There isn't, but again, I think it's supposed to be I'm just positive it's and which way round they are, I don't really know on this because they're both major messages really, but obviously Yarsi's one as a minor and one as a major. Which way round, I'm not sure. But there are 2 messages using these letters. These are the stars. Gomius and Procyon are actually Canis Minor. Sirius, Mizraim, Weezer, Madara and Eludra. You've got once you connect them all together, it gives you 2 messages using the same letters in each message. Okay, so I've just put them up there so you can do. But this is going to tie in, well, and again, I like I say, I'm making no claim to this, and I'm not like somebody who's like living in fantasy land. If this wasn't in code like this, and I didn't know these things in an instant, which is weird, then I wouldn't even put it out there. But what I'm about to show you only confirms what has been uncoded in numerous codes through the last 2-3 videos. And I've been railroaded into putting it out there because I can't complete these codes unless it ties it in with other code. So to create the video, I can't skip the code, let's put it that way. And because I wouldn't put it out there otherwise, if I was given a choice, I would skip round it. I always do, or I tried to before, but it's literally railroaded me into saying things that would make you sound, would absolutely make me sound crazy if it wasn't for this code. Okay, let me just show you the two messages. Okay, folks, no coincidence. You are right, and this, like I say, this ties now back as well with the original Bethel to the padlock anagram line, or padanarum. Okay, first one, like I say, I don't know which ones must be minor and which one's major, because to me they're both major, but I suppose the second one is more major because I know what the prize is, and I'm about to explain that as well, which is your angel connect ladder redeemer and angel seller key, or angel's key and seller. Okay, right, firstly, mark ID or Argus ship LZ. Well, I've done that. That's where the key is obviously that. See the Armada, I am in Warzone. This Armada, whatever, this fleet of ships, well, I don't know how big it is, but there's an Armada, and it's clearly over the Warzone. At the time of decoding this, that was just Russia and Ukraine. Obviously, I don't know now, probably maybe over Israel, but it's over the Earth, because the Earth is about to erupt into World War III. I have no question that is going to happen. It's already building up. There are so many fuses ready to blow. It's unreal. It's all about a financial war that the West is losing to. and the collapse of the idol Ra, the dollar, the false idol Ra. Anyway, right, the second code. Right, again, like I say, I would never say anything like this, but if this won't make much sense unless you've seen the last code, because there's a code in Orion's riddle, and there's a map code that tells you to solve Orion's riddle after naming and literally pinpointing every single code that I've done, all in a line, and tying with the star constellation as well. Again, like I say, if you haven't seen it, go back and look at it, and it'll blow your mind. Okay, it says, I, Marco Guy, Orion Messiah, Ranum Armada LZ, well, we know where that is, and Saw Prize Due. Okay, right, okay. Right, we don't need that one. Let's do the prize due. Okay, when this started, I absolutely 100% know that I was listening to the Book of Job, and the one thing that won this was, will you do this for your girls? Now, for love nor money, can I, typing in the word girls, find it, but I absolutely know, I was listening to it all on audio at a time, and this is, I was still with my ex then, and you know, and everything was, well, I don't know whether I don't think I'd sold the business, but obviously this prompted me to get rid of the business as well, as I explained. But obviously my girls, I knew at the time of the, well, let's just do that one. There's more than this to it, but I was seeing, I wouldn't say visions of the end, but I was seeing something wasn't right, and things, and I don't even know what drove me to it. It was like I was in a trance almost. But that at the time of that, which is when this all started, that you know, I was kind of seeing this, obviously not realising it was a real one of the end map, literally written in the map tricks and the Atlas, a last message. Okay, right, Angel's Key and Cellar. Okay, what is the prize due? Right, the Angel's Key, which is the Angel's redeeming ship. Angel's Key and Cellar. Right, the two forts that make up the code, one is obviously in the shape of a key, Lamelin, and then obviously you've got the padlock. Right, if you Google Caerwent Roman temple that isn't Roman, but Caerwent Roman temple, and if you go to images and scroll down, you will see like a floor map of the temple itself. And what you'll notice there's other codes in this, I haven't quite got to those, there's one something about ambulance, but it's Tremenos Path, ambulatory, but the lock is actually labelled cellar. Okay, it's Latin. Again, they change these things thinking that they're being smart, but obviously ours way ahead of them. Okay, so the cellar is the lock, and the Angel's Key is obviously Lamelin. Now, again, it's the Ladder Redeemer. Well, I can only go by code, but I'm an archangel sent to give you this message. Like I say, it does say I forgot all, went and I forgot all, but ultimately, right, what is the prize due? Right. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to use the and or not actually, whether it's just that goes in the middle, but we'll do it. Oh, sorry, it's Kelsey and I've got to put the C in there. Okay, and C, Kelsey and LC. Right, the C comes from the crescent moon. With the crescent moon, what you have is the Pleiades, which is going to come into play as well again in a second with this, unbelievably. The Pleiades is an anagram of Please ID, okay? The crescent moon is an anagram of Secret C on Mon. Okay, when I put the Secret C on Mon, all I do is I put the Secret C into King Solomon, or King Solomon's temple. Well, in this case, it would be the temple and the key, so we'll just do both. So, and then what we do is sew locking. Hang on, what have I scrubbed out here? Let's do that again. Sorry, folks, I don't want to get it halfway. Okay, C, King, Solomon. Right, let's try that again. And obviously, the same applies for the key. So it's sew, L-O-C-K-I-N-G, locking, Mons, which is Monmouthshire, Mons Temple, and the same applies if you put it to so locking Mons Temple, and so that probably goes here actually, and so locking Mons Key, because the temple is locked by the set, represented by the cellar, and the key is represented by the angel's key, or the key fort of Solomon. Okay, so what we've got here is so locking in the locking. Well, I can't fit it in there, but it's what it would say is so locking in, or so locking Mons temple key. So the temple key is the angel's key and the cellar, which then gives you and C, Kelsey and Ella G. Well, Kelsey and Ella G are my daughters. Kelsey is my oldest, she's 15, and Ella is my youngest, she's 11. Obviously their surname is Guy, and that's why you've got the so locking the Guy, obviously, and C locking Kelsey and Ella G. But locking into what? Locking into the safe zone in the Argus Navis ship, and they're obviously, right, now this is where it gets absolutely crazy, because I'm about to reveal to you, and that is and when it says saw the prize due, what better prize than to know that my two daughters are both encoded in? Well, they're encoded in a little bit more than this, but basically they're encoded, and that is why it says saw prize due. When it says prize due, well, obviously, well, whatever happens, that is the best prize you could ever have. And this is why he says that basically he collects, somebody, me, obviously, it is, collects the 10 treasures of heaven, and they're better than gold and silver. Well, unbelievably, treasures of heaven is a gold as well. Look. Well, these are my treasures of heaven, that's a fact. But what it says is, reassures, he of V-E-N-T-A, Venter. Well, Venter, for anyone who doesn't know, Venter Silurum, before this is the decoded Jerusalem and the centre of the matrix, and where the lock is in Venter Silurum. It says reassures he Venter. The obvious thing is Silurum, but what it does, the treasures of heaven, everything that I've done and collected and stuck by my side of the covenant, the bargain, that the deal that I struck. Will I do this for my girls? Basically, it reassures me of Venter Silurum that when this all goes down, and it is inevitably going to do that, or I've pulled off the greatest fluke of all time from where I don't know, because I don't even know how to explain how I was able to do it, other than thoughts come in my head, and I know I am not just picking out random thoughts. It's things I'm not even thinking of that suddenly just come into my head. I go there every time. There's the code. Okay, on that note, let's move on to the next bit. Okay, folks, the Song of Solomon. Wow, this is not what this is going. This is so far from what you would expect it to be. It's unbelievable. But you'll see now in a second how this all fits together so perfectly. Okay, when I got this right, the first thing I got, and I had this a little while ago, but I couldn't work out what it was saying. Right, okay. The first thing you've got to do is on Solomon's. Solomon is not just a code for a king. It is a whole. It's not even the actual king that it identifies as Coelin ap Caradoc, who ruled from Coent, his father being David ap Caradoc. They removed David and one thing and another. But on Solomon G. Okay, so it's something of on Solomon G. Now, at the end of the night, during this crazy week I had with this code, because for 1 week I had nothing at all, and then all of a sudden it all started piecing together, which will become apparent when we get to the last code. Okay, I'm mopping away, and like anyone, I just like songs, you know, on YouTube songs. I like songs, and obviously you click them once, and then you have your playlist. Well, I put on I just wrapped on the playlist and started mopping away at the end of the night. And a song, right, just before it, I was working on Pleiades, Taurus and Orion. And I was seeing things that was to do with two sisters, okay? But this will all become apparent now. So I hadn't connected any of this together, and I couldn't quite work out what it was and one thing and another. Anyway, whilst mopping, song comes on, and weirdly it finished, and I wasn't paying any attention to what it was really, it was just playing in the background, and weirdly it played again. I since realised that I don't even remember doing it, but I must have clicked it twice as a like, and I had two versions, and it's the only song in the entire playlist, and there's a way down it that this song basically, and I don't know why, but I just clocked this song. On my way home, driving home later, I suddenly realised, and it all falls into place, why it was such a time trigger. And it connected the Pleiades code, the sisters and the Song of Solomon. Okay, right. Like I say, it's not. This is. Hang on. Right. This is not. This is not about the song and the words, even though the lyrics are a bit eerie. Because it talks about crying, something about crying on the walls. I did plenty of that during when this first broke out, because I didn't know what the heck was going on, and obviously I was going through a breakup and everything. Not when this first started, but obviously, anyway, on Solomon's G. So we got the word of, and I can tell you now what the song is, unbelievably. Now you have to take it out of your mind. You have to realise the creator knows everything in advance. And like I say, this is the furthest song that I would have expected, but it makes so much sense. It's called The Temple of Love on Solomon's G. Okay, so this is where it ties in. Now the group that sing this, and this is where the sisters hit me, the 7 sisters. Is sung by a band that I used to listen to when I was a youth a touch, called the Sisters of Mercy. Now I realise it all clicks into place. The Sisters of Mercy. So I realised that now you're trying to tell me something. You just rearrange it, and it breaks the mercy seat on the ark. Okay? The Ark of the Covenant is a box basically, and the top of it, and I decoded the lid before, and it's seal that you've got the lid seal, but the word lid is very clever because it uses IDL. What you do is you take the Z of Solomon on Solomon's mailing code, and you just add it on there. So it's the seal IDLZ. Well, why would you have a mercy seat on a box? Because what it's doing is using the Ark of the Covenant box as a double up for the covenant, or it's the prize because it's identifying the Ark ship as well, the Ark ship of the covenant, because this is the new covenant that I have kept, that has obviously given me all this information and well, my calling, or whatever you want to call it. But the Sisters of the Mercy Seat, well, the Sisters of the Mercy Seat are written in the angel's key in the cellar, and basically it's the mercy seat, and I think the LADDE Redeemer it's a seat for me and my girls. I'm assuming that well, I'm not assuming, I know it's at least for my girls, and I would even go as far to say them two cherubims that sit on top of the ark, and they're both female, even though the Jews reckon they're one male, one female. I think they're both female. They wouldn't actually know what it is, and everything's been corrupted anyway, as I'm about to sort of put the kibosh on the rest of it. Okay, right, okay. So the Song of Solomon happens to be, and the Temple of Love is my temple, and I think I'm Solomon as well, but it's like the ancient Solomon and the new Solomon. And like I say, I could go into a lot more detail, but I'm gonna leave it at that, because I need to show you then what I decode from the original thing, which is Orion, Taurus, and the Pleiades. So bear with me a second. Okay, folks, just to show this all falls in line, unbelievably, this is what it says, because it's obviously a prophecy for the future, for now. And literally, this was, this code came pretty much when the last codes, after I'd realised what the Song of Solomon and everything else was. But Orion the hunter, Taurus the bull, and Pleiades the seven sisters. And the other thing with the seven sisters is the seven sisters. Well, Pleiades is please ID on its own. Okay, please ID. And then the seven. Well, the seventh letter of the alphabet is G as well. So this is your Ella and Kelsey G, obviously. But what it says is to reunite both sisters, he'll use H. Well, on the RGH in the Argus code, H is the key. Well, obviously I did. I used the angel's key, and I reunited it with the cellar, which is the lock, and it says plus ID heaven return seat, which is the mercy seat of the sisters of the mercy seat on the Ark of the Covenant ship. You could not make this up, folks. Right, okay, I think I've got and done that, but as you can see, this is an absolute miraculous code, and the bulk, 19%, 95% of this has been in the last 2 weeks, really, if that. And I haven't spent day in, day out on it either, so it's not even, I don't know how many hours, but there was a bit of a hold up, but that becomes apparent as well. 2 seconds. Okay, folks, now we're going to go into, now we're going to, connect the ladder line, basically, an earth code, an atlas line, obviously with these constellations to connect Jacob's ladder and a timestamp that is just unbelievable. Okay, what I'm going to do, firstly, this code, I know I got the ladder on the 8th of December. I know that because it was a Sabbath day, and I was just basically looking for something to watch, and that popped up in the picture of a ladder, and it took me through trying to decode this one plus the rewritten Bible one, and I actually broke both of these codes on the 14th of the 12th. 2 words held me up, or the word that held me up on both codes were ancient. I got both of these codes apart from the ancient bit to be able to finish it off. I could not work it out, no matter how hard I tried. But eventually I got it. And when I got it, it was on the 14th of the 12th. Right, okay. Why is this significant? Because, right, I'm going to read Job 12 from 8 to 14. It says, right, it's cutting in because it says about us, they'll be the air, they shall tell thee. Right, it says, or speak to the earth. Okay, so the LADDE line is the earth code. And it says, or speak to the earth and it shall teach thee. Well, it has. It's told me that the Bible was rewritten for one, the Welsh Bible. And the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. It says, who knoweth not in all these the hand of Yah hath wrought this. It says Lord, but that's a lie. In whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind? Doth not thy ear try words? Question mark. Well, it's telling you is an anagram. And the mouth tastes his meat. This is breaking up Leviathan or breaking up the veil. Leviathan is Rome, basically. It's the giant shark on the map as well, which hides the whale shark. And Leviathan Rome is an anagram of more than a veil. But he says about him breaking up the pieces and feeding it to the people, which is what I'm doing effectively, cutting up the story and the lies they've told you. Okay, with the ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. With him is wisdom and strength, he hath counsel and understanding. Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Okay, well, I'm about to show you, well, obviously I'm going to feed you the fish, basically, all the fishes, breaking up Leviathan, breaking this into all the pieces, and what this says is absolutely phenomenal as to what is going on, or what's gone on, and the great lie, the Vatican, you know, and the church follows it blindly, but the great lie of everything we've been taught. And I'm about to expose the Vatican for the lying, cheating, murdering filth they are. And I'm sorry, you know, I don't mean to offend Catholics, but really, when you see this, you know what the disgusting plan is and what they've done. Okay, right, okay, bear with me while I convert this into the most amazing message, and then explain the date as well, because there's more to come on that. Okay, folks, just to top this year off, this is absolutely the reveal of all reveals. To tie this now as well, when I tie it to Jacob's Ladder and everything else. The fishes, speak to the fishes and they will teach thee, and the earth as well. Ancient South Wales history is hid in the depths of the Vatican. She hushes up Jerusalem. This is your shh as well, with your Masonic, you know, all your Illuminati nonsense and all this. She hushes up Jerusalem is Jerusalem. Right, this I wasn't expecting. Well, I kind of was and wasn't. Right, before I say this, I did say, going back about three or four videos ago, I said, by the way, the word, it isn't Christ, well, I'll show you now what it is. But I stated this, but I didn't have the code to break it, so I didn't want to put it out there, but I'd already worked the code out in this. But the way this is written even takes the need for explanation away. Well, I'll explain it now. But it says, ID Welsh Christ, use H hidden on hill fort. N Popes FFF lies. FFF, I think, is what was written in the Old Testament somewhere, and has been taken out, and they've used it, but F is the sixth letter of the alphabet. So this is 666 lies, basically, about the Antichrist as well. Because the Antichrist, well, the one who's the there's obviously a code that says, we use the words Christ rapture, 7-year tribulation. And when you unscrabble that code, which is written in there that they obviously don't realise, it says part true, because there is a rapture. It says seen RV, obviously I've seen the rendezvous, so I know there's going to be a rapture of sorts. It's a one off this planet with this ship. And a lot of people are going to, but it also says, I think it says you'll be the liar's antichrist. Well, the liar's antichrist, because the antichrist is the deception. Yet they've obviously are guessing at what it, you know, who or what it is. But you can sure as eggs with me telling people to God, Mary with Son, among them, and all these other things. But when I do it, I'm showing you the most miraculous, awesome coding that's ever been found by a security guard of average intelligence that couldn't do a cryptic crossword. You know, and you know, but no accident that his place of birth, his where he works, even my car is encoded. Literally everything is encoded, but I will break this up now. So, ancient South Wales history, obviously tie that with the see, this is where the two ancients come in. It mentions ancient twice in that passage, and the word that was holding me up was ancient. The first one says ancient Welsh Bible rewritten, and the second says ancient South Wales history is in the depth of the Vatican, and I will show you how this ties up to the 14th and the 12th with Jacob's ladder. Okay, in fact, I'll tell you what it is now. Jacob, as you said, you know, the first code tells you to use, to use my brother? Where was it? Just to run it back your memory a bit. I use Bethel Bala, I use a cast job, brand key, archmother, and a brother. Padlock, anagram, lock G. Well, Jacob is a G as well, obviously, so he's another Jacob G, Jacob Guy. Now, my brother, what's incredible is my brother's birthday, Jacob, just happens to be the 14th of the 12th. My ladder company, on the 9/11 ladder, the kind of pre-warning ladder for America as well. Well, I'm not sure exactly how that fits into the equation, but funnily enough, I know I can't. Well, I'm positive, and it makes complete sense that the towers, you know, the 9/11 thing happened in the, well, so obviously September. I ran the business, then I made the deal to pass this business over and restart a job on January, whatever it was, when this light ladders were starting back up. And I know a few, well, roughly, I don't know, about, well, it would have probably been give or take 2 weeks, you know, 10 days, and I will put money on that this is a Saturday, but at the time, obviously, I would have traded through the week, last sort of clean up, and we were emptying the warehouse, and I'm positive that I actually handed those keys in on the 14th of the 12th, 2002, which is obviously, again, tied up, and I'm positive. I mean, I can't remember the exact date, but I looked at it, it's a Saturday, it ties up beautifully. But my brother Jacob, his birthday is on the 14th of the 12th. I cracked this code. Well, the two main codes with twice with the ancient in it were both exposed in the Vatican between the 8th of the 12th, which is when I first saw the ladder, to the 14th of the 12th, where I, well, basically cracked the fishes and the ladder on the same day. And I even got the guy that comes in to unlock this place, Tom Ash, to witness it, because he's got I've sort of given him he knows roughly what's going on with this. And I got him to witness it, that it was on the 14th and the 12th, which he was quite taken aback with as well. I couldn't believe it. So, but and ends the Pope FFF lies, and bear in mind the last passage on the 14th, Job 12:14 says, "Behold, he breaketh down, and he cannot be built, and he cannot be built again." I think this is breaking down this whole lie of a story. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Well, the Pope now has to, well, you know, their religion, they should, well, they know this, and this is going to happen, I'm positive of it. But obviously it ends Pope's 666 lies, because this is proving beyond coincidence. The creator of all things literally has planned all this, outwitted them, and their fate is already written into that, you know, into Lawrence Douglas Fink's name, who is Lucifer as well. Okay, right, I'm going to ID Welsh Christ, use H hidden on hill fort. Right, well, this is pretty self-explanatory. She is up to roost. She is the Vatican, well, the Vatican and the church, really, but it's the whoring bride, because this is the whoring bride is Jerusalem. J-E is Horus, and that's why it's a whoring bride. So, you know, don't become one of the bride, because you're going to get left behind when the ship comes in. Okay, ID Welsh Christ, use H hidden on hill fort. Well, Right, okay. What does that mean? Well, the Welsh word for Christ, current Welsh word, is grist. Okay, so to ID the Welsh word for grist and add the H on the hill fort gives you Grist. Okay, and this is the significance of this perfectly timing for me to be doing this right now on Christmas Day, 5 to 4 in the morning at this point. I've been stopping and starting with this video. Right, the hill fort obviously is the Mel H. If you've been watching this, I can decode my name entirely between this and the fort Jerusalem, which is G. Oh, when it's reversed, it's Mel A surname G, basically. And the added letters give you vine man. Well, Jesus said he's the true vine, and he isn't. It's a complete and utter lie. Because that decodes as vine man. Lion of Judah is the code for that is Judah's lion, and it says only UID as H. And the secret H man, which is the shortest route, is, well, the place I work, the key points to is Corsham, this exact office where I do these videos from, in Eastleigh, Corsham. It says, yes, Atlas, Marcos H. The key points directly there. There's also a giant spear that goes under the huge message that comes down, stabs into this Leviathan shark on a big map, and that gives you a complete message in itself. But Manchester says secret H man, and this is why I'm the secret H man, and this H with this IS and the cross on it, I'll leave that to the imagination. But add the H, give it the Christ, and also the LADDE Redeemer connection. Not only does it connect to the Messiah, the Redeemer, not once, but in numerous codes, let's do that right. And I'm sure there's more to come on this, guys and girls. If it doesn't, we're in trouble anyway. LADDE Redeemer. The it's LADDE Redeemer, well, yeah, that should probably be there. It's LADDE Redeemer, RGH. Well, the LADDE Redeemer, like I say, is the River Sabbath code, Jerusalem, Hebron, because I've decoded that as well as being the hospital, but this is the hospital I was born in, the house I was registered in next to the temple. You couldn't make it up, folks. On that note, I'm going to have to, actually, I'm not, I'm just going to put this in perspective. Just the 3 lines from 3 separate codes, one from the Atlas, one from the LADDE, and one from Canis Minor. Hold on. Well, Canis Minor says, Marco, realise, Roman Catholic reset. I mean, I'm just picking the lines that match up. Marco, realise, Roman Catholic reset. Sorry. In fact, bear with me, folks. Let me just do it. Save. Okay, folks. I just want to do this just to quickly tie it up. Understand how quickly this has all become and how it all connects together. But Marco realised Roman Catholic reset, ancient Welsh Bible rewritten, ancient Welsh history hidden in the depths of the Vatican. She hushes up to Rus, ends Pope 666 lies, whilst revealing effectively the Redeemer, the Messiah, and the real Christ, the Welsh Christ. I know that saying, I'm not even going to try and justify it. It's here in code. It's for you to take in or not. But I would get those hands up, stand in the letter Y, sins on your palms, and you know, call on Yah and ask him, and make sure you don't miss the boat, literally, or the ship. Okay, folks, until next time. Well, I'd say Merry Christmas or Merry Christmas, because I've got a feeling as well. Well, no, I haven't got a feeling. There's a code in that as well. So I think Christmas will continue, but I'm not going to reveal it because it's personal, and I'll when the time comes, I'll explain that, the meaning, and how this will, I'm pretty sure will go on. Okay, Thank you for watching. Please like and well, at least subscribe if you're not. Subscription is free. It doesn't cost anything. I don't know why they use the word subscribe. It's just literally you'll just know when I make these videos or whatever. Allows you to follow the channel. If you can like it, I'd appreciate it, and I would love to hear your comments. As I always say, if they're negative or stupid, I will get rid of them. And believe me, if you think you can mock this, then good luck to you when things that are about to. Well, we're not far away, folks. I really do not believe it. This seems to be coming to the top of the ladder type thing. So on that note, I'm going to wish you all Yah's blessings, and I'll speak to you when the next lot of codes come.